Hi, I'm Katerina and welcome to my channel. This is my Addicted to Journal channel, and I wanted to explain to you a little bit about why I have this channel and why you may be interested in subscribing to it and keeping up with it. So I've been journaling since I was 12 years old. And when I was 12, I decided to keep what we called a diary. So that's what I started to do. And I would write every day. And I have lots, and I've saved those journals. And so I have a lot of those journals. And I would just write in whatever diary I could get. My grandparents would buy me one, or I would, find one in my grandmother's, maternal grandmother's attic or something like that. So the kind of writing I would do would be in books just like this, with just the plain paper like this. And I would just write a whole page each day. Basically, some days I would write more than one page, but typically it would be one page. I also wrote in little smaller booklets in some years, and anything that I could find when I was a child and when I was a preteen, that I could write in. And I continued this journaling. I also wrote a lot of poetry. And so when I was writing poetry, a lot of times I would write my poetry within my diaries, or what we would call today as journals, because this was back in the 70s. And so we didn't have any of the things that we have today that we could work in. So then after I got married and had children, I had to be a little bit more organized, and but I also wanted to keep journaling. So one of the things that I did is I kept one little book where I would write down, I had a little section for each one of my children. At that time I had 5. And I would write down the different things they would say and how old they were when they said like really cute sayings. The other thing that I did is I would write them letters. So every 3 months, I would take journaling paper such as this, 8.5 by 11, and I would write them a letter. And I've kept those letters. And now what I've done, as they're all grown and have their own children and their own families, what I've done, except for one, I have a teenager at home still, is I have made copies of those and sent them to them as Christmas gifts so that they could read the letters that I wrote to them as they were growing up. So I evolved into writing more since I had children. There was more to write about, that I evolved into filling up these kind of binders. And you can see that it's all filled up with papers and journaling. And those are all consisted of this style of writing. So typically, some days I might have some weeks I might have 1 or 2, 3 entries on a page. Many times I would have a whole page for a day, and sometimes more, just depending on what was going on in life and such. So that was that. Then I started owning, and I had always owned businesses. And when after I was trying to juggle the businesses plus the things I had to do with the kids, and I homeschooled my children, so I evolved into this type of a planner. And so in here I could journal like little more like notes, and I also kept my other journal at the same time, because there'd be times where it was too much to put in a planner like thing. So I'm trying to find like maybe a more empty page, but anyway, just give you an idea. I'm trying to, so that everyone doesn't see all my personal stuff, but anyway, so this was like back in what is this one? I can't remember the year. 1996, I think. So I think it was like 1996 or so. So what I would do is I would take the different, this is like this is a daily professional appointment book. And so it's like if you had a hair salon and you'd have the different, or a doctor. So it has these columns like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I divided those into the different projects and areas of my life. And then I would keep track that way, because it was too difficult to put it. So like I would have homeschool in one column, our Taekwondo school, which I owned at the time, in another column. Then I would have, other projects that I was working on for income producing activities. I was a realtor too. So then I would have that there. So whatever businesses I had, and then I would try to have my personal and spiritual column. So I evolved into that. And then sometimes that wasn't enough. And so then I would buy these, what are these? 5-star mead books. And they would be, you can see they're divided up with these pockets. And so then I could keep things in there that might be important. And what I did on those is I divided up the day, the day into quadrants. So this is more when I was kind of like doing the Stephen Covey style. I did move into the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Effective People. I did move into his journaling, the Franklin planners, for a long time and use those. And they had journaling pages that I would journal in, but I didn't really like them very much and they didn't give me enough freedom. And so, and it was a lot of redundancy of writing the same thing over and over again. So what I did was I would take these books, and this is like 2004, and my life evolved into that. And then I would have it divided into the different things that I did. At that time, I had a baby very late in life. I had my 6th child. My other children were pretty much all grown. I still had 2 teenagers at home, but when he was born, there's like a 14 years difference between him and his youngest sister. And so I had a whole column just for him because it's, that was a lot to do with the baby, of course. Then I moved into just regular keeping a log every day. So like I would just take 1 subject books, and then I would just use this type of paper and write down what I needed to do. And I didn't quadrant it as much, but I would use highlighters to let me know which category things were in. After that, I evolved into, and at the same time, I would keep a separate journal for a lot of these because I felt like, which one of my kids are actually going to go through my planners to read what life was like for me, but they would read a journal. Then after that, I found out about the Passion Planner, and I love the Passion Planner. At the time that the lady had the Passion Planner, she did not, she had it on Kickstarter, so she didn't have it made yet. She was taking orders. And in the meantime, she gave out a PDF, a free PDF file, which was really cool, of what, and I'm going to give you kind of an empty one here, of what it looked like. So I would she said, take a file folder, and then I made copies of the week and put them all in here. So the week would be in here. And then what I would do, and then important things, and there would be lots of places to write different things. The other great thing about the file folder system for the Passion Planner was that you could write on here, you could write on the back of the folder, you could lift these up and write underneath. So there was a lot of room. This is one of my favorite styles of business planners. You can now buy the Passion Planner on Amazon, and I have a link below in the description area for that planner, the Passion Planner, if you're interested in taking something like this, but actually having it in a really pretty book. It's a very pretty planner, and I love that planner. But again, there's not enough, so if you can look kind of a little bit, there's not enough, sorry, I do it real fast, but there's not enough room to actually journal. As you can see how much I journal and how I can journal on a whole page. So I was, again, keeping a separate journal. And at that time, I would just keep journals like this, and I'll just do like this kind of a flip. So I keep maybe some things in and stuff like that. Then I got this really pretty journal that I had found with the picture of the temple, Salt Lake Temple on there. And I really loved this. And I started out as just regular journaling, and then it evolved. Then I found out about the bullet journal, and I found out about scripture journaling, and I fell in love with washi tape. So you can see that I've done a lot of washi tape on this one. So what happened was I didn't want to stop using this and start using a bullet journal right away, because I found out about it after I had just started on writing in this in January 1st. I started writing in this journal. So in February, I discovered bullet journaling while I was doing something on Pinterest, and I thought, oh my gosh, I just love that idea. And I started studying about bullet journaling, and I watched every YouTube video I could, read blog posts, and did everything to figure out how I could incorporate that. And I looked at it and I thought, you know what? I could actually, there's so many cool things I could do bullet journaling, where I could keep my journaling and my business all together, which is a lot of my life is my business. And so I don't like to separate my business from my family and everything, because it is kind of all encompassing and all incorporated. And I like to live that way. So one of the things that I discovered was that I could also put pictures in it. And I could also take, I always threw away, I never saved cards. And my kids would send me cards, and it's like, I think for Mother's Day. So I took out the pretty part of the card and I just glued it onto a planner page, my diary, one of my journaling pages. So I thought, okay, I want to do the bullet journaling and I want to combine, because this, I was still doing the passion planner at the same time as doing this. Okay. Then after that, I decided to get into the bullet journaling. So I did get into bullet journaling, and I have videos on how I do that. I just did one on how I do a really fast spread, because the first one took me a long time to learn how to do, because of the fact that I'm not a good artist and I can't draw fast. And so anyway, you can see I still love my washi tape. Everything with red, white, and blue means it has to do with my son's baseball. He's a varsity pitcher, so we have very, very busy schedule. And so I this is my, so this one I started on April 1st, and it goes until July 31st of 2019. Then this one started on August 1st, 2019, and went until November, because I could only fit 4 months, and there's still quite, the binding is held up. This is very well, but you can see, so now I combine my business and my bullet and everything into one journal. So I can do bullet journaling like this and do, learn a little bit about art, which I'm terrible at. Let me find I think I have a really pretty one for, maybe it was, oh yeah. So here's my one for November, and I'm good at lettering. And so I love lettering, and this works really well for me to do it like this. And so then of course, if you know what bullet journaling looks like, you've got your calendar, you've got your dailies and things like that. So, and I have more videos about that. So this one is an Exceed journal, from Walmart, which is my favorite bullet journal. This is, and I'll link to this in case you do still want to use it if ghosting and bleeding doesn't bother you. It bothers me, but this is a Lecterm journal, so I will link to it below, and I do not recommend it as much, but there's some people that are just very loyal to it and just love it. So, this is an example of my horrible, my horrible drawing. I learned this from Amanda Lee, and she's great. She does bullet journaling. She's a really good YouTuber, and she's such a good artist, and I'm not. But this took too long for me to try to do. So that when I went to my, I think I have a flip through of this as well. When I went to my mood tracker, what I did was I just went to the internet and copied a balloon and printed it out and then glued it on the paper, because there's no way I could do it like Amanda Lee can do it. And so from there, I have evolved into doing scripture journaling. I have done, and then my junk journaling. So what I do is I have I do 4 months in each. So I have 3 bullet journals per year. So because I didn't want it, what happened last year for December is that I didn't want to start. Remember, this one went through November 30th, and there wasn't enough room to put December in here. And so I didn't want to start a whole new one and then go into a new year. So I didn't want to do like this, and then I would still have an odd month out, right? It still wouldn't fit, because if you're doing 4 months per book, that's three books. So I made my own junk journal and turned it into kind of like a bullet journal. And I have a video on how I did that as well on my channel for just the month of December. And that was fun. So I have running all the time. I do have an altered book journal that I have going on. I have a scripture journal that I do actually journal in my scriptures, but I also have a spiritual journal that I write in and decorate and use stickers and things like that. And then I have my bullet journal that I use all the time with regular journaling and all my business stuff I have to do. And then I also create other journals that I like, and for like junk journals and smash journals, whatever you want to call them, altered book journals. And I use those for different things. And I'm going to start one on art because I would like to learn how to do art. I'm terrible at it. I can make flowers. I just learned how to do a rose pretty well. So I want to learn more about that. So I want to have like a journal where I can see my progress. So I'll get like an art journal and then see how I progress. But I follow a lot of really amazing women on YouTube that teach how to do all these marvelous, marvelous techniques. I love watching them. I'm so addicted to it. Love washi tape and the vintage look and the modern look and just all kinds of different things. So I don't have like one particular style that I really go for. I do tend not to be too junky. So with my junk journaling, I like to still have it neat and I still like to have a flow. So I'm not really one of those that likes the torn up pieces of paper all inside of regular pieces of paper. So you can see that through my flip throughs of some of the journals that I've made for my friends and family members. So that's what my journal is about. I mean, my YouTube channel is about. The other thing too is I do go shopping for journaling supplies. So you'll love to watch my hauls so that you can go to, I do Tuesday morning, Hobby Lobby, Joanne Fabrics is one of my favorites, and then Michael's and the Dollar Tree. So those are the places that I go to shop for my supplies, and of course on Amazon and Wish as well. And a lot of times I get better deals on Amazon. I am an Amazon Prime member, and already I can get things like sometimes in the same day if I need it really badly, right? And I don't want to go drive to the store, especially if I'm in the middle of doing a project. So if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them, and I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. The next time you come back to my channel, you won't see this video. You'll see another video as a returning subscriber. You're seeing this video right now because it's the first time you visited my channel, and I'm explaining what my channel is all about. I am an Amazon affiliate, and I am an affiliate of different programs. So I do get a very small commission when you use my links. And I would so appreciate it if you do. But more than that, I would like you to subscribe to my channel, connect to the notifications, leave comments, like my videos, because that's what helps my videos then for YouTube to know that people actually like my stuff, and then they will show it to more people. So I would love that very much and appreciate you very much for doing that for me. So keep on journaling, and I look forward to helping you learn more about my journey. And I am not a pro by any means. I'm not a good artist, but I do have a great story, and I love sharing my journey and how I learn things. So hopefully you'll get to see a lot of my videos will show you mistakes I make as I make them or after I made them, because I want you to know that that's normal. When you see videos that it's all so perfect, and believe me, I see lots of those videos, I feel discouraged a little bit because I can't do that. I can't do it as good as they can do it. So I figured, you know what? There's other people in the world that feel that same way as I do. And so I want to be more authentic, and I want my videos to be more real, and where, hey, we mess up, this is what we're going to do about it. And this is what I made. Like I did this one journal where I made a really pretty window, and I cut the window by accident. I have no idea, but it tore. And so I put Scotch tape over it, and I showed her that, well, this is what you do when you make a mistake, so you don't have to start all over again on a project. So that's really what I wanted to express in my channel, was just the whole journey of how I learned and the mistakes I make along the way, and that you can follow along and feel fine about making mistakes too.